The story of America's rise from a handful of struggling colonies to the most powerful nation on Earth is one of ambition, conflict, vision, and transformation. In the early 1600s, European settlers arrived on the eastern shores of North America, driven by dreams of freedom, opportunity, and new beginnings. 13 colonies were established under British rule, each with its own identity, but bound by the same desire for as tensions grew between the colonies and the British Crown over taxation, representation, and control spark of revolution was ignited. In 1776, the colonies declared their independence, and the American Revolution began a war, not just for land, but for the very idea of liberty. After years of struggle and sacrifice, the United States of America emerged victorious. A young nation with a bold promise of democracy and equality, yet freedom came with challenges. The new republic faced internal divisions, economic uncertainty, and threats from abroad, but with the guidance of visionary leaders like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin, America began to build its foundations, creating a constitution that would become a model for governance worldwide. The 19th century became an age of expansion and innovation. Through the Louisiana Purchase, America doubled its size. Through westward migration, it discovered vast resources. And through the Industrial Revolution, it transformed from a rural society into a technological powerhouse. However, progress came at a cost. The dark shadow of slavery divided the nation, leading to the bloodiest conflict in its history, the Civil War. From 1861 to 1865, Americans fought against Americans, brother against brother, over the question of human freedom. When the Union triumphed, slavery was abolished, and America began to heal, slowly reshaping itself into a stronger, more unified nation. The late 1800s brought an era of steel, railroads, and invention. Men like Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, and Thomas Edison turned America into a land of industry and innovation. Immigrants from across the globe arrived by the millions, drawn by the promise of the American dream, the belief that anyone, regardless of birth, could rise through hard work. Cities grew, factories roared, and the American identity evolved. By the dawn of the 20th century, the United States had become an economic giant. Yet the world was changing fast. The two world wars tested America's strength and defined its destiny. In World War I, America entered late but decisive, helping the Allies achieve victory and introducing itself as a global power. But it was World War II that truly transformed America into a superpower. When Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, the nation united like never before. Factories turned to war production, soldiers fought across Europe and the Pacific, and American science achieved milestones like the atomic bomb. When the war ended in 1945, the United States stood as the undisputed leader of the free world, its economy booming, while Europe and Asia lay in ruin. But with great power came new responsibilities and new rivalries. The Cold War began, a tense ideological battle between the U.S. and the Soviet Union for global influence. Through diplomacy, military might, and cultural, Hollywood to Coca-Cola America projected its ideals of freedom and capitalism around the world. The space race became a symbol of that competition, culminating in 1969 when American astronaut Neil Armstrong took humanity's first step on the moon, a moment that declared America's technological supremacy to the world. Meanwhile, at home, America faced its own battles for equality. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., challenged segregation and injustice, pushing the nation closer to its founding promise of liberty for all. The Vietnam War, Watergate scandal, and social unrest tested America's spirit, but each crisis became part of its story of resilience and the late 20th century. So the United States dominates in technology, innovation, and culture. Silicon Valley emerged, giving birth to computers, the internet, and a new digital age that reshaped global communication. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the Cold War ended and the U.S. stood as the world's sole superpower. Its military, its currency, the backbone of the global economy, and its culture influencing every corner of the planet. Yet the 21st century brought new challenges: terrorism, economic crises, political polarization, and rising rivals like China. The attacks of September 11, 2001 shook the nation to its core, but also revealed its unity and strength. America responded with global military campaigns, reshaping international politics once again. In the decades that followed, the world witnessed America's continued leadership in science, technology, and defense, landing rovers on Mars, developing groundbreaking medicines, and leading digital revolutions through companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Google. However, beneath the surface, America struggled with issues of inequality, division, and the question of its future identity. Today, the United States remains a nation of contrastemons: wealth alongside poverty, innovation alongside controversy, freedom alongside conflict. Yet, its influence endures because of its core ideals: liberty, democracy, and the belief that progress is always possible. From the first settlers who crossed the Atlantic to the astronauts who walked on the moon, America's journey has been defined by courage and ambition. It has faced wars, crises, and transformations, but every trial has strengthened its resolve. The rise of America is not just the story of one country, it is the story of human potential, of what can happen when people dare to dream bigger than their circumstances. And as the world changes once again, one question remains: can the nation that rose from colonies to superpower continue to lead the world into the future role? Will its greatest challenge come from within? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: America's rise has forever changed the destiny of the modern world.